One, two, three, four. Maggie Thatcher. Right, here we go. Here we go. Just testing out the volume. An old CB radio shout from 1983. It went one, two, three, four. Maggie Thatcher was a... And we stopped. So here we are. Another bit of Howie Shanks Bingo League. And the baton has been passed on by Steve Tate to my good self and Beatles. I've decided to take it up Beatles. So it's Sunday afternoon here in Cardiff, 25th of June 2023, time 2:30. So in North America, it's most likely, depending on the zone, about 10:30. So, without further ado, let's get into some Howie Shanks. So at the top of the table, Detroit still hold a thin lead over Jersey. My Manchester Red Bolts, we've been laden with injuries. Just to show this one. We've lost for the season A-Rod and more or less Bob Hazel. And yes, there's another one. Mike Schmidt. I've actually lost Schmidt to postseason, which doesn't look like we're going to get there. And A-Rod, for the season, A-Rod had been one of my better players as well. Just looking at runs created for the season for the Red Bolts. Bob Hazel's out. A-Rod and Schmidt out. So we're really in trouble. I haven't activated Fred Singleton. I think I'm going to just go with what I've got now. There's not much I can do about it. It is what it is. So, without further ado, also, just a thanks to everyone who has contributed to this channel. I've been doing it now for about 5 years, but resurrected it for baseball mostly in the last, 8 months, 10 months, and we've hit a magical 50 subscribers, so I'm really pleased. Thank you so much for the support. I've met a lot of people through the Beatles Eternally Network and Steve Tate, and met loads of people over here who've come over here as well, so it's really nice to see that. I can't thank everyone enough, so thank you very much. Hearing this mad Brit doing baseball. I do other sports as well, but started off doing cricket, which you still find on my channel, and boxing and tennis. I'm an all-rounder really, but baseball's recaptured my heart. So, without further ado, let's have a look at the table. Like I said, Mudville are still in the chance, 11 games back. Cleveland are 14.5 back. Hawaii are 5 back. So it's been an interesting league, really interesting, particularly towards the end, where we're getting close now to the, if there is a postseason, the postseason. Detroit have held on all season long, but they've had a really bad losing streak recently. So without further ado, let's have a look at the games scheduled for today. I'm going to try and take it on a couple of days. See if there's anything that stands out. Yes, there's a Mudville-Detroit game, which I always like to see because Detroit can't handle Mudville for some strange reason. We've got Cleveland, Des Moines. That's Rob Tomlinson's been active fairly recently. This is the 1st of September. Cleveland, Des Moines, we can do that one. Auto. And Cleveland come up with a victory. They've had so many injuries this season. I think Steve was asking what happened to Al Simmons, I think it was. Al Simmons was injured, Steve, for a large part of the season. That's why he hasn't really played. Good hitting team, Cleveland. And this particularly, that Williams from the Negro Leagues. I've never heard of him until today, until we started doing Howie Shanks. He's come in as a replacement, done very well. Albert Bell, superb hitter in this league. Joyce, not sure which Joyce that is. Bill Joyce, 1 for 4. Red Hats gets the win. And Cy Young, holding his own a little bit. You know, I don't like Cy Young. 11 and 17. So, Badlands and Jersey. This should be an automatic win for Jersey. John Clarkson going against Rube Waddell. And so it is said, so it is written. Badlands lose again. See, Badlands, you expect to beat them, but on their day, it would just cause a surprise. Clarkson gets the win, goes to 12 and 10. This is another good hitting team, batting 297. Getting worried about my connections here. All my wires are tangled up. And if there's a little bit of noise in the background, forgive me. Let me turn off this fan. We are in the middle of a heat wave here in the UK. And if you hear any more whirring in the background, it's my washing machine. I happen to be living in my living room at the moment, which is near my kitchen, so of course Apologies, hopefully you can hear me quite clearly. So, without further ado, let's get to the next one. North Sound versus Arlington. And Arlington, a surprise victory, although it shouldn't be that much a surprise. They are loaded. At 6-13, 6-13 via the blue. So many stars just cannot put it together. I've always said Dan Brothers needs to be in the team. He is in there now. And Greenberg's had a disappointing season. So North Sound, a well put together team, just not hitting. So I put that down to their stadium maybe, but they're all stars. Campanella, Babe Herman, Ernie Banks, George Sisler, Ben Chapman, just not put together. Not gelling together. So there's 3 there, box. Manchester, Hawaii, I don't expect us to win this one because Verlander's on the mound. It's a good matchup though, Greinke and Verlander. And we come out on top 8-1, nice. Even with our injuries, Red Bolts still keeping that pressure on. There's Chicky Star, Chicky. 2 for 4th with a triple. Josh Gibson, who was injured in the season. I think for injuries, we'd be closer, I think. But Hawaii, there's Tommy Tucker back in the lineup. He was injured for a long time. Injuries have killed us. And we're still in the race. And there's hammering Juan Soto. These guys can hit. Tip O'Neill, Oscar Charleston, Rocky Donut, The Rock Colavito, Jim Gentile, Nap Lajoie. It's a high-octane offense for Hawaii, but they got done as Greinke on top of Verlander there. So that box score again, pitching. Zach Greinke went 11-10 now. Heller came in for the save, or to close it off with one batter faced. Greinke nearly went all the way, giving up only 1 earned run. Good performance. Justin Verlander was knocked out of the box. Okay, so interesting scoreline. Well done, Zach Greinke. So, will Zach Greinke make the Hall of Fame? That's a question for everybody. So now we come to the matchup that we've all been waiting for. Mudville, who have been playing spoiler lately, against Detroit. We've seen a lot of them together lately. Let's see what happens. We'll play this one out. Now, I do have a better Tiger Stadium than this, but I'll leave it. Okay, computer lineup. And they're against Leon Day. Leon Day recently, I think it was a couple of days ago, they played together and Day was superb. So there we are, that's the teams. Just double check them. Case has been playing lately. Ty Cobb's still out for a couple of days. Now Keeler's not playing, he's been rested. Why would that be? Ruth is playing, George Foster's playing. Felsch is getting a game. It could just be for tiredness. Keeler batting 324 though. What would Beatles do? As he's not here, Felsch is playing, and there's nothing wrong with Felsch either. Batting 192. Key game, surely he'd put Keeler in there. At DH. Nope, I'll leave it as it's suggested unless Beatles got a line up here. Load right. Nothing saved. There's a computer lineup. It's so familiar, the lineup. I've played with them so many times. It's just not having Wee Willie Keeler in there. It's taking him out for a reason, so we'll go with that. Welcome everyone. It's early afternoon here in the UK. This is Mudville coming into Detroit. Mudville plays spoiler to Detroit quite often. Lots of injuries now taking shape. Why is that sound happening? Injuries affecting lots of different teams now. Maybe players have been overplayed. I don't know what it is, but we've seen a phalanx of injuries coming. So here we go. Leading off for Mudville is George Case. Corner's in already. And Derek Lowe on the mound. Last time we saw him against Mudville, Mudville beat him up. Lowe on the season is 11-1 with a 3.97 ERA. 72 degrees here at Brick Stadium, 97-2 Brick Stadium. It's a home run hitter's paradise. Fly ball towards left. Barnes has it, and that's the first out of the game. Pop Lloyd steps up, batting .326, and Lloyd lines out to Dunlap. That's 2 away for the Nines. Up steps Babe Ruth. Now, Ruth has really come on as of late. I was really worried about him, but he's been hot. Batting .281, 38 home runs, and 110 RBIs. If you want to know why Mudville have been much better lately, the Bambino has stepped up. He has really been hot. It's Low with the pitch. It's to Ruth. 18-game hitting streak. Here's the 0-2. And the Bambino strikes through that one and does a punch out. And that is the end of the inning. Nothing across in there, half Mudville. And now we go to the Coyotes. Shooter's Joe Jackson himself been injured recently. Batting .313, 15 home runs, and 45 ribbies. Here's the 0-2. Base hit between third and short. And Joe Jackson is on. Jackson's got 29 steals on the season. Let's have a look at the in the field for Detroit, for Mudville. Yadier Molina behind the plate. Double X Jimmy Fox at first. Davey Johnson at second. Pop Lloyd at shortstop. Darrell Evans at third. George Foster in left. Happy Felsch getting a rare game in center field, as we were killing. Needs a bit of rest. They're moving around their lineup. And playing right field today is Babe Ruth. Now, there's been some changes to that team, mostly due to injury. Now, stepping up is Fred Dunlap. There's a throw down the first. Jackson is safe. That's Leon Day operating on the mound. Runner on first. Here's the 1-2. And a deep fly ball to center field. Hap Felsch showing his wheels. And that's one away. So Hap Felsch, one of the infamous Black Sox, tracked that down easily. Stepping in is Barry Bonds, batting .316 with 35 home runs and 97 RBIs, riding an 8-game hitting streak. Here's the 1-1 from Leon Day. And a deep fly ball to right center field. This one is gone. Barry Bonds, in typical Detroit fashion, opens up the scoring here. Wow, a big 393-foot home run. Amazing start. That's what happens with Detroit. What is that sound? It's getting on my nerves. I'm afraid to move my wires at the moment. Something's causing that ringing sound. Apologies. Stepping up is Mark McGuire. Wilson on deck. Base is empty. Here's the 1-2. Paints the outside corner so Day gets the strikeout. Stepping in is Hack Wilson, batting .274, and he strikes out. So Leon Day, who's had an up and down season on some of the featured broadcasts, he's actually played pretty well. Here's Jimmy Fox. Evans on deck. Here's the 1-2 from Lowe. Deep fly down the ball on the right field line, and Hank Aaron has it. and that's one away. Stepping up, Darrell Evans, 241. 36 home runs. He'll walk to first. Evans has really picked up as well. He was struggling earlier on in the season. There's George Foster now, batting 260, 21 home runs. George has picked up his batting average as of late. Here's Lowe. Runner on first. Lowe with the first pitch, and that's driven into left field. Base hit for George Foster as he continues to raise that average. Mudville just as dangerous when they're on their day. They can take out Detroit. Lowe, look, seeing as Hap Felch steps in now, batting 192. Rare appearance for Hap Felch. Johnson is on deck. Runners on first and second. Here's the 0-1. Hammered this one. Deep fly ball to the left field line. It is gone. Hap Felch. Oh, man. Hap Felch puts Mudville ahead. 3-2. Hap Felch, rare appearance, took that one out of here. Wow. So Mudville leads 3-2. One out here. Bottom of the second. Stepping up, Davey Johnson batting 229 on the season. 5 home runs and 28 ribbies. Bases are empty. Here's the 1-1 from Lowe's. That's hit, grounded straight to Felton Snow. At third up, put it over to McGuire, and that's 2 away. Sharp hit grounded to Felton Snow has played some outstanding third base this season for Detroit. Stepping up now is Yadier Molina, batting 233. Here's the 3-2 from Lowe. Fastball. And they dribble it to second. Under Dunlap's glove. And Molina will get all the way to second. An error on Dunlap. So the inning not over yet. As up steps George Case. So that decision to do injuries has actually made the league a little bit more interesting. Runner on second. There's the 1-0 deep fly ball to center field. Hack Wilson has it, and that is the end of the inning. It's after 1.5, I should say. Mudville 3, Detroit 2. Leading off for the Coyotes is Hank Aaron. Home runs all over this team. 345 against righties. Here's the 1-2 from Day. And that's a base hit from Hank Aaron. Mr. Consistent. Stepping on Walker Cooper, playing in place of Johnny Bench, who's been injured. Walker Cooper not really had a chance to play. Day looks to first. Here's the 2-0. Aaron breaking for second, and it's foul. Hank Aaron got good speed on the bases. He's at first, been held closely by Jimmy Fox. Day collects himself. It's 2-1 the count. Walker Cooper is ready. Runner on first. Day checks the runner. Here's the 2-1. Aaron was going, but Cooper pops this one up. And Pop Lloyd calls for it, and that is another one out. Oh, man out. Stepping in now is Felton Snow. Runner on first. Jay checks first. He's ready. Day with the 2-2, and Snow hits us down the right field line. And the Bambino is waiting, and he makes the catch. Leon Day, one of the Negro Leaguers. Like I said, on this channel, he's performed fairly well. Stepping in now is Dave Concepcion. 189 average on the season. Dave really struggling. Runner on first. Dave with the 1-1 fastball. Hit down the line to Evans. Evans to Johnson, but they can only turn and only need to turn one. So no runs, 1 hit, no errors after 2 complete. Mudville 3, Detroit 2. In this All-Star Howie Shanks Bingo League. Stepping up now to lead off for Mudville. The third inning is Pop Lloyd. 0-for-1. Lloyd hits it to center field. Hack Wilson, playing for the injured DiMaggio, comes in and closes his glove on that one. That's the first out. And here's Babe Ruth 0-for-1 today on an 18-game hitting streak, the left-hander. The Big Bambino's been ripping it up. Low on the mound gets his sign from Walker Cooper. Here's the 1-0. And that's lined to center field. Wilson came in fast, but he let it drop, and a base hit for the Bambino. And that brings Jimmy Fox to the plate. Lowe has already got his sign from Cooper. Ruth not really a threat to steal. Runner on first. Here's the 2-2. Curveball, ground ball to short. Up with it, Concepcion to Dunlap to McGuire, and that's a double play. At the end of that half of the inning, after 2.5, Mudville 3, Detroit 2. Mudville looking to play spoiler and still try and keep in the race. Detroit leading the league. Stepping in now, shooters, Joe Jackson. He's the leadoff hitter for Detroit. He's 1 for 1 today. I really don't want to use my mouse. It keeps making noises like it's going to disconnect. A single between third and short. Oh, it's annoying me, that mouse. What it is, I've got it tangled up. Give me 1 second. Nothing worse than a tangled up mouse. Okay, one more. Oh, I cannot stand my mouse when it does this. All the wires, I should get, next time, I'm going to buy one of those wireless mouses. I'll stop this nonsense. Forgive me. I'm reminded of that old song from the 1960s. Please release me. Here we go. Please release me. Oh, let me go. Right, the mouse is free. Here we go again. Joe Jackson up now, 1 for 1. Single and scored in the first. Day stares in. And that's smashed up the middle. And Johnson with a diving play. And Davy Johnson snags that one over to Fox. And that one is a great play. Backhanded pick by Davy Johnson. And gets him out. Jackson out of there. Chugging back to the bench. Now upsets Fred Dunlap 0 for 1. Flied very deep first time up. Day looks in. Day is ready. Here's the 1-2. And he struck him out. Well, on Day, third strikeout of the day. He does have a strikeout armory. Now there's Barry Bonds stepping up now. 2 men out. Bottom of the third. He hit a 2-run home run. Bonds hit a 2-run off Day in the first. It's the 1-0. A line drive along the first base line. Babe Ruth will go to it in the corner, and Bonds with a stand-up double. So Bonds seeing Day very well today. And upsets the league-leading home run hitter, Mark McGuire. McGuire's hit 46 home runs this season. Runner on second. Here's the 3-0. Curveball. It's high and outside. And now Bonds at second and McGuire at first. And it brings up Hack Wilson. Hack has been struck out in the first. And he is playing in place of the injured Joe DiMaggio. There's the 0-2 from Day. And Day struck him out for his fourth strikeout. And that is the end after 3. Mudville 3, Detroit 2. Our Mudville going to hold it together against Detroit yet again. It's like the nemesis. Evans will bat first inning now for Mudville. Here's the 0-2. Popped up and Felton Snow running after it. Ball's going foul. Stepping up to the plate, it's Darrell Evans is waiting now. Count is full. Here's the pitch from Lowe. And he's lost him. So Derek Lowe has lost Evans, and Darrell Evans will go to first. Up steps George Foster, 1-for-1. Had a single in the second. George has slowly improved throughout the season. Runner on first. Here's a 2-2 from Lowe. And a ground ball at the right-hand side. McGuire collected and take it back to first. And that's one away, but Evans will go to second. Stepping into the box is Hap Felch. Hit a 3-run blast in the second. Rarely played this season. Man on second. Here's a 2-2. And a comeback is straight at Lowe. Lowe will fire it over to McGuire and they get Felch. But Evans will make it to third. Up steps Davey Johnson. Not much of an offensive threat. Runner on third. Lowered the 1-1. It's grounded Concepcion. He's up with it. Over to McGuire. Got him. So after 3.5, Mudville 3, Detroit 2, and hammering Hank Aaron will lead off at the bottom of the fourth. There's the 1-2 ripped into left. And that's fielded by Evans, who got it across to Fox, and they get Hank Aaron. For a moment, I didn't think he'd have it. That brings Walker Cooper, so Detroit being depleted here. And now Day walks Cooper. Here's Felton Snow. Felton Snow 0-for-1. Man on first. Hit a shallow fly ball to center field. Happy Felch gets under it, and he maintains the grab. Cooper will drop back to first. As Concepcion really struggling at the moment. Runner on first. Day sets. Here's the 1-2. And a grounder to Pop Lloyd at short. He throws a second. And that's the end of the inning. After 4. Mudville 3. Detroit 2. Up steps now, leading off for Mudville, the 5th inning. Yadier Molina. There's the 1-1, and Yadi hits this deep to left field. Barry Bonds runs back and closes his glove on that one. One away. There's George Case now batting. He's 0-for-2 today. Infield's in. Ground ball up the middle. Dunlap to his right. Got it across to McGuire. 2 away. Fred Dunlap there. Rated a 10 at second base. 19th century ball player. Stepping in is the Negro Leaguer Pop Lloyd, one of the greatest shortstops of all time. 0-for-2 today. Lowe is ready. Here's the 1-1. And a deep fly ball down the right field line. And this one could go, and it's gone. Pop Lloyd rips this back into right field. And that's gone 341 feet. Good night. Pop Lloyd being one of the stars of the Mudville Nines. Mudville continue to have the juju over, I don't know what you want to call it, over the Coyotes. They seem to just kick their backsides. Steve Tate won't be happy. Manager Steve Tate going up against manager Beatles eternally. Stepping up now is Babe Ruth, 2 out. Top of the 5th inning. The Bambino been on a hitting streak. He's 1-for-2. Struck out in the first. Single in the third. The Bambino really becoming the Bambino that we know. Count is even. Here's the delivery, and it's a strike. Ruth was crushed up there, and he strikes out to retire the side. 1 run. 1 hit, no errors. A big home run by Pop Lloyd. Bottom of the fifth. Leading off, shooter's Joe Jackson. Joe Jackson 1 for 2 today, back from injury. Leon Day is ready. Dunlap up next as my washing machine goes off in the background. A breaking ball will strike out Dunlap. Fifth strikeout for Leon Day. On the season, Leon Day's ERA is shockingly bad. He's 10-13 with a 6.24 ERA and a 1.7 whip. Yet, he is a coyote killer. Here's Dunlap now, 0 for 2. Here's the 0-1, base hit between third and short. And Dunlap gets on base. Upstairs Barry Bonds. He's one more RBI to hit 100. Day gets a sign from Yachty. Bonds 2 for 2. Runner on first. There's the 1-1. A slow roller to Jimmy Fox. And he's only placed to first, and he'll take it there himself. Dunlap goes to second. Please forgive my washing machine. As McGuire and the washing machine goes into spin. Runner on second. Here's a 3-0. Just inside. He walked him on 4 pitches. So Mark McGuire on first. Fred Dunlap on second. Here's Hack Wilson. Struck out twice today. Men on first and second. Day looking for the sign from Yachty. Here's the 0-2. And a base hit. And McGuire will go to second. Dunlap rounds third, and he's going home. And George Foster won't throw it. So Dunlap scores, and Wilson is aboard with a single. 4-3. Mudville still lead. Here's Hank Aaron to face Day. Cooper on deck. Random first and second. And Leon Day loses him, and maybe losing the ball game right here. But there are 2 outs, and up steps Walker Cooper. Molina goes out to talk today. Now batting number 8, the catcher, Cooper, steps in. Bases loaded. Here's a 2-1. Grounded to Pop Lloyd at short. Over to Johnson. Got him. 3 out. 1 run does score on 2 hits. No errors after 5. Mudville 4, Detroit 3. As I wait for this spin cycle to come to an end. How inappropriate. Leading off, the top of the 6th inning, Jimmy Double X Fox. Fox 0 for 2. Grounded to short last time up. As Vladimir Putin now is going to be making a statement. Another one. Fox will lead off. Fly out to right in the second. Here's a 3-2 from low. Up and outside, and a base on balls, and Jimmy Fox will go to first. Apologies for that spin cycle. Darrell Evans steps in now. Evans drew a base on ball and scored in the second. Walked in the fourth. Man on first. 2-0 is the count. And there is Dunlap takes it, goes to first, and Fox will go to second. So Mudville looking to capitalize yet again. Derek Lowe's thrown 85 pitches. Foster is ready. 1 for 2 Foster. Runner on second. Lowe sets. First pitch. And a line hit between third and short. And Fox looking to score. No, he'll hold it third. So George Foster does his best. He continues to bat very well. Fox at third. Foster at first. And another F steps up. The 3 Fs have Felsch. Felsch playing for the rested Wee Willie Keeler, so there's a bit of a move around for Mudville. He had a home run, though, in the second inning. A 3-run blast. Felsch, one of the infamous Black Sox, steps into the box. He's ready. Derek Lowe gets a sign from Walker Cooper. First and second. A blast, a line drive down the third base line. And Fox scores. And yet again, These Mudville Nines are surprising to try to know what it is they're holding the Coyotes. Not only holding them, giving them a little bit of a tap on the backside. Again, have Phelps with a double. Driving in Jimmy Fox. Foster at third. Davy Johnson steps in. Molina on deck. 2 runners in scoring position. Here's the 0-1 from Lowe. Cutter, well hit fly ball to right field. But Tank Aaron has it, and a run will score. Foster makes it 6-3 Mudville Nines. Wow. Beatles eternal his team. For whatever reason, I wish my team could do that against Steve. In fact, my team does give Steve a bit of a beating too, to be fair. Here's Yadi Molina. Man on second. Low with the 1-1. A ground ball up the middle, done up to his right. Backhands it over to first. Got him. Score 6-3 Mudville. Bottom of the 6th, Day still out there. Leading off Phelps and Snow is 0 for 2 today. Fly out to center in the 4th. Here's a ground ball up the middle. Johnson to his right. Throws to first to retire Snow as my spin cycle, thank God, comes to an end. Apologies for the sound of the washing machine in the background. I completely forgot I'd put it on. All part of the MV ambiance. Part of the show. Stepping in, Dave Concepcion. Jackson up next. Here's the 0-2. Struck out. Concepcion struck out. 6 strikeouts per day. He's got something about him, Leon Day. He's obviously had some rough times, but when I've seen him, he's been strikeout king. Stepping in now, Joe Jackson, 2 out. Bottom of the 6th. And there's a line drive base hit between first and second. The Bambino, playing right field today, will lob it back in. It's Fred Dunlap now, 1 for 3. As Day throws over to first, Jackson dives for the base. He is safe. Run on first, 1-1 count. Day with the pitch. Ground up the left-hand side. Evans up with it over to Fox. And that is the end of 6. No runs, 1 hit, no errors. After 6 complete, Mudville 6, Detroit 3. Can Mudville hold on? Here's Case now leading off the 7. He's 0 for 3. Here's the 1-1. It's a blooper to center field and a base hit for Case. That's the 7th hit for Mudville. Definitely been one of the gamest teams in the league. They just had a horrific June, as I recall. Otherwise, they'd be right up there. Having said that, they're still in the race. Here's Poploid, 1 for 3. This team put together, the Mudville Nines, by Beatles eternally. The Coyotes are put together by Steve Tate. Runner on first. He's set now, Glow. Here's the 1-1. And a single for Pop Lloyd. He goes 2 for 4 today. Pop Lloyd having a good ball game. There's George Case on second. And here is the Bambino. 38 home runs on the season. He's 1 for 3 today. Struck out last time up. And they're not going to pitch to him. Lowe and Cooper decide they're going to walk the Bambino to get to Jimmy Fox. That's like asking which way they want to die. Fox 0 for 2. Steps in from the right-hand side. He walked and scored last time up. Bases loaded. Nobody out. And a blooper through the left side. Wilson running in. Concepcion going back. Could be trouble. Base hit. A blooper gets another run home. Case scores. And Pop Lloyd at third, and Roof will go to second. 7-3 Mudville. Derek Lowe shaking his head. Cannot believe that these Mudville Nines continue to give Detroit a hard time. Stepping up now is Darrell Evans. And Cooper goes out to CeeLo. Evans steps in, bases loaded. Lowe looking in towards Cooper. It's a 3-1 and they lose him. And Pop Lloyd will come home. 8-3 Mudville. Here's George Foster, 2 for 3. Base is still loaded, nobody out. It's time to get low, I think. He's not red though. But I will take him out. Base is loaded, 1-1. Foster swings. Felton Snow closes it. They go to second for 1. Evans rolls into Dunlap, no throw to first. So by rights, if it was me and in my league, I would be taking Low out. It's not red, but he has given up more than 8 earned runs. It's time to go. So let's go to the bench. I'm sure Steve would have done this. Reb Russell's his normal go-to, but Reb Russell's blown up a lot lately. He's got some good closers, lefties. Kremer's the rested one, so they are losing, so Ray Kremer coming in. Ray Kremer on the mound now. Ray Kremer from 1926. He's ready with his warm-up pitches. He's good to go. Hap Felch steps up now. 2 for 3 today. Runners at the corners. Here's the 1-0. And a line drive base hit between third and short. Fox will score. So Hap Felch having a great day for Mudville in relief of Wee Willie Keeler, who normally plays DH. And they mess around with her outfield, but he's now just scored another one. Wow. Kremer looks in as Davey Johnson steps up. Man on first and second. Kremer gets a sign. Here's the 1-2. And that is, he got a piece of his leg, and everybody moves up 90 feet. Base is still loaded, only 1 out. 4 runs been given up in this inning, and Yachty comes up. He's over 3. Be nice to get out of this one. He's 4 for 12 with bases loaded. Case up next, bases loaded. Kremer with the 1-1, very deep fly ball to left. That should get Foster home. And Bonds won't even throw it in, and another run comes home for Mudville. 11-3. Wow, this is a shellacking. K steps up now, 1 for 4. Still only 2 out now. Long inning. Here's the 0-1 from Kremer. And a drive deep down the right field line, and Hank Aaron measures that one, and that is the end of that half inning. Wow. Bum, 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 bum. There we go. Wow. Good. Leon Day still out there. Do they keep him in? Yeah, keep him in. It's not like he could give up. This is still the, as we say in the league, no lead is safe. Bonds will lead off. Here's a 3-2. And he loses Barry Bonds to prove my point. Here's McGuire 0 for 1 stepping in. Runner on first. Day is set. He shakes that one off. And now he's in motion. Here's the 1-2. Curveball. He strikes out McGuire, who swings and misses on that curve. 7 strikeouts for Leon Day. Like I said, he is the Coyote killer. Up next, Hack Wilson, 0-1 for 3. Aaron on deck, man on first. Day looking in at Molina. Here's the 0-2. Another strikeout. And the crowd are not happy as Wilson goes back to the bench. They are looking for their hero, Joe DiMaggio, who is injured at present. Stepping up is Hank Aaron, hammering Hank. Man on first. Day looks to first. Toes the rubber. Here's the first pitch to Aaron. A shallow fly to right, and Bambino has it. After 7, Mudville 11, Detroit 3. Kremer on the mound out there for Detroit. Here's the 0-1 to Pop Lloyd, and Pop Lloyd nailed it up the middle for a base hit. Pop Lloyd has been outstanding today. Up next is Babe Ruth. Crowd gone very quiet here in Detroit. Kremer now with the 2-2. And a long fly ball to right field. And Hank Aaron just goes back to the warning track, and he has that. Yeah, very quiet here in Detroit. You can hear it. It's gone really low. I thought it was my volume for a moment. Just realized that's the sound of the Coyote fans leaving the ballpark. Kremer looks in. Here's the 1-2 to Jimmy Fox. And he struck him out. Fox would just got a piece of that. And Cooper hung on. Walker Cooper playing in place of Johnny Bench. Here's Darrell Evans now. Slowly has come on this season. Batting 241. Man on first. Here's Kremer looks to first. Here's the 0-2, and that's cracked to right field. But Hank Aaron going back far enough. And that's the end of the half. 7.5 gone. Mudville 11, Detroit 3. Stepping up is Walker Cooper, 0 for 2 today. Day sets. Here's the 0-1, and Walker smashes this to left field, but George Foster drifts back onto the track, and he's under it and catches it. 1 away. Leon Day coming close to his EPC. Will let it ride with him. Snow, 0 for 3, steps in. Day has the sign. It's the 1-2 pitch. Here's the windup. Struck him out. Leon Day with a curveball there that got Snow all fooled. And Leon Day, so it's amazing how he's playing today, because in the actual league, he's had his problems, but every time I've seen him on here, more or less, a broadcast game with Leon Day, he has done exceptionally well. And normally it's against the Coyotes. Maybe in this pitch, his stats just stand up. Here's Dave Concepcion, not much of a threat. He's 0 for 3 today. Day gets a sign. Ground ball up the middle. Great diving play by Davey Johnson over the first. And they get Concepcion. No runs, no hits, no errors. We've played 8. Mudville 11. Detroit 3. Stepping up is George Foster, 2 for 4. Kremer still on the mound. Here's the 0-2, and George has smacked that down the left field, and George Foster has his double. And that brings up Hap Felch. 3 for 4 today, Hap Felch. What a performance. Something for Beatles to think about. He did a triple for the cycle. Here's the 1-1, 1-2. Slow roller. Felton picks it up. And just in time to retire Felch. Great play by Felton Snow at third base. Felton Snow, one of the least legal leaguers to me anyway. And lovingly put together by Steve Tate. There's no love in Steve's eyes today because his team is taking a beating from Beatles Eternalist Mudville Nines. Here's Davey Johnson now stepping up, batting .228 on the season. Runner on second. Here's the 1-1 ground ball, and that's driven into right field, and Arrow will pick it up, and Johnson has a base hit. Foster will go to third. One out. Top of the ninth inning here. Kramer in relief. A little blowout relief. And Yachty steps in. He's 0 for 3. Case on deck. Runs on first and second. Here's the 1-2. A fly ball hit towards left center field. Hack Wilson goes back. Foster will score. 12 to 3. The Mudville Nines. Wow. This is just not good for Steve. Stepping in, George Case, the DH. Case at the plate, runner on first. Kremer looks to first. Here's the 2-1. Ground ball down the third, and that's foul. Case, a late replacement in the season for injuries that have happened to the Mudville Nines. Here's the 2-2 for Kremer. Very deep fly ball to right. Hank Aaron has that covered with great range and right, and that is the end of the half inning. After 8.5, Mudville 12, Detroit 3. Here's Shoeless Joe Jackson, 2 for 4. It's deathly quiet here in Detroit. I mean, really quiet. Here, count is full at the shoulders, and Day looking for the complete game has walked one. It looks as if he's going to be, the bullpen is ready. I don't know if the manager's going to take a chance, because you just never know. And I think the manager's seen enough. Leon Day does not deserve to be hit around, I don't think. He's played very well today. So Leon Day is coming off. And Beatles Eternal, he does have a live bullpen. Wow, actually the stats don't stack up well against Dunlap though. Let's bring in Joe Nathan. Hold on. He's tired, maybe? No. So Joe Nathan coming in. I'm not sure what that means, but we'll soon find out. Joe Nathan now making his 26th appearance on the year. Dunlap against Nathan. Here's the 2-0. Ground ball to left field, base hit. No league is safe. Barnes digs in. He's batting 281 with 7 runs with runners in scoring position. And Nathan strikes him out on a 1-2 pitch. One away, but 2 men on. Leon Day pitched very well today for the Mudville Nines. I think those runners inherited, though, are his. On base are his. Here's Mark McGuire 0 for 2 today. He's the league leader in home runs with 46 on the season. 1 out. He's walked twice today, McGuire. Men on first and second. Nathan is set. Here's the 0-2. A liner to third. And Evans will make the catch. That's 2 away. Last out coming up. And Hank Wilson with 3 strikeouts steps in. Nathan looks in. Runs on first and second. Nathan checks the runners. Here's a 3-2. And a deep fly ball to left center field. This one is gone. I had a feeling that was going to happen today. But it's happened to Nathan. And as I said, no lead is safe. But Dak Wilson breaks out of his slump for the day with a deep fly ball to left center field that went 374 feet. Wow. So Nathan now, I don't know what his EPC is. It's 25. He has been used 2 days ago. He should be okay. Aaron now batting. Cooper on deck. Base is empty. 0-2 to Aaron. Fly ball to center field. This should do it. Felch has it. And that's the ball game from Tiger Stadium. The Mudville Nines take one from Detroit. 12-6. Excellent performance with Leon Day, although Nathan gave up the home run to damage Day's stat line further. But interesting ball game. Interesting ball game as Mudville yet again Day takes the win, goes to 11-13. His ERA is still messed up though. Let's have a look at the stars for the day. Happy Felch. Showing Beatles what he can do. 3 for 5. Pop Lloyd went 3 for 5 also. George Foster's just come on like a train in the last 6 weeks or so. It's 3 for 5. We saw Hack Wilson blast a home run right when I knew it was coming. I could just feel it. The stats just did not look good for any of the pitchers against Hack Wilson. It was like 26, 27, 30 odd percent for a hit. I just fancied him for a home run. Barnes has done well this season. So, Leon Day gave him only 4 home runs. I did take him out. I just felt like he deserved it. You know, his ERA is so high, but yet he's got the wins. On his day, he will strike you out. He's got 9 strikeouts. Derek Lowe loses only his second game of the season, 11-2. But he took a beating. Probably should have took him out a little earlier. So, folks, that was a good one. So let's speed it up a little bit. So go to played games, scheduled games. That is the end of that day, and there's a big day ahead here. So we'll sim these. Can't see one I want to do, or can do. Just can't do my ones. Mudville, Hawaii should be really good, but I'm going to sim that one. I've seen a lot of Mudville lately, and rightly so. They're an exciting team to watch, and you want to see can they actually come up. Hawaii is a good team to watch because they're in the mix and probably deserve. That should be the game to be broadcast. Do I have the energy in this heat to do another one? The answer is yes. Yes, I will. I'll at least, I'll do it. I'll do it. So Jersey, Des Moines. And Des Moines beat Jersey. This is just insane with Jersey and Detroit. They're throwing it away. Mort Cooper with the win, 14-7. Des Moines had an excellent season. He had his plus stuff today. Russ Ford, with the loss. Captain Cash continues to rake it. Utley and Delahanty, Ginger, Beaumont, Stanton, Helton, all having good games. Badlands, Detroit. Come on, Badlands. Just take down Detroit. Damn it. Badlands is shut out by Detroit as Reb Russell in relief, it looks like. Takes the win. Mike Scott out of there with an injury. An injury to Mike Scott. He can afford to, cannot lose these pitches. Good performance from Leo Tiant. Tiant's played well for a bad team. Tiant should be in the Hall of Fame. Hack Wilson 2 for 3. That was a good ball game, actually. It looked like that one was. Mudville, Hawaii, we'll save for the moment. We might actually do that one. Probably deserve to do it. Jersey get one back over Des Moines, so they don't really move one way or the other. That is, there's my man Harlan Clift. Carlton takes the loss. Clayton Kershaw takes the win. And Carlton was knocked down early. Cone came in and took the Flyers out, but the game was lost. Is that Carl Hobble in relief? Wow. Cash raking again with 2 for 4. And these guys just like metronomes. Utley, Cash, Delahanty, Ichiro. Box. Detroit Badlands. Come on, Badlands. Let's go. Damn it. And Detroit take down Badlands. A nice effort, but they blew it in the 9th inning. A 9th inning come from behind victory as Bob Gibson takes the win, went all the way. And Guidry didn't take the loss this time. Braxton blew the save and took the loss. Interesting game, that one. Detroit pulling out in the 9th. Arlington, Cleveland. And Arlington, a little bit of a run, to take down Cleveland. Robbie Wartburg's Arlington team. A team full of Honus Wagner and Rogers Hornsby, but they just don't put it together. McQuillan takes the loss. Wanaka takes the win. There's my Red Bolt Bruisers. 2 for 4. Now then, box. Arlington, Cleveland again, doubleheader. Arlington lose the second half of the doubleheader as Cleveland take them down. 8-5. Cleveland with Buck Leonard and Robin Yount and Moa doing well. Big Me, I've never heard of Big Me. This is who? Carson Big Me, yes, I've heard of him. 2 for 4. Poor Arlington. Right, now then, who haven't we got? Mudville, Hawaii's, or let's do Manchester North Sound. Come on, Manchester. Spud Chandler's had a good season. For goodness sake, every time we get close, we blow one. Oh. Anyway, wow, it was oh my gosh. We were winning it until the 8th inning. And Spud Chandler was not taken out. It looks like. Spud played the whole game, I think. Wow, he should have come out, but he was too late. Hey, Steve Tate, how you doing? How you doing, Steve? Just doing a little broadcast here of the league. Just catching up. You'll be pleased to know, without revealing the game just before, that you're hanging in there. Let's do this one. Mudville and Hawaii. Mudville lost both. Oy. So Mudville lost the first game. Nathan blew it against Antonelli, but maybe Nathan's a little bit tired. And then Hawaii and Mudville. Second game. Ellsworth and Grove hooked up. And Lefty Grove got the win. So Hawaii definitely should have overtaken Manchester by now. So let's have a look at the table. Steve, yeah, I just broadcast the game with your team in there. Let's see it update itself. Jersey. Oh, come on. There we are. Here's the updated table. And Detroit lead by a game over New Jersey still. Manchester, Hawaii locked together, 5 games back. Mudville, still in there, 12 games back, just about. Cleveland are more or less out, unless they have a stonking September. So, that's where we are. I was just contemplating what to do next. It's so hot here. So, Steve, I may leave this for later on. I know you and Beatles are playing later on. Looks like there's another doubleheader between Mudville and Hawaii. So I will leave that. I may pick it up again later on this afternoon, British time, because it's just too hot for me to maybe do another one. Yeah, you do, Steve. You have. Let me show you your team. You have got some injuries. In fact, I've lost A-Rod for the season and Mike Schmidt. So we are really getting hit. I don't know why the injuries are coming all of a sudden. Maybe because of usage. I guess it's partly to do with that. So look at Detroit. Joe D's out. You'll have him back in about 2 weeks. Bryce Harper's your big loss. I mean, he's been injured most of the season. He is out and probably out for the playoffs. Johnny Bench will be back shortly. Right, so you may have ineligible. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, there's your 5 out. So that's your team. If you want to adjust it, you know what to do. You can let me do it if you want. Happily get involved. My team, Manchester, my goodness. Just for everyone to see their team. Jersey have got injuries. It looks like Brett's back. George Brett's still out. I mean, this has been sad. He's only played 63 games. George Brett is out. Just click on that column there. So, clue, you've lost George Brett, which I think you're aware of. Harper. Yeah, Harper's gone. I mean, look at this, Steve. Look at mine. Bob Hazel's out to the end of September. A-Rod's gone. Schmidt is pretty much out unless we get to the preseason. I am finished. That injury thing just tore us apart. If I take Hawaii seems to have a clean bill of health. Lawrence's team. But it's saying Jim Junction needs a rest. The AI will take care of that, I think. And if I take Mudville, I think Mudville's got one injury. They just played Hap Felsh. Ty Cobb is out, but will be back soon. So, Steve, you're saying this might be more teams. Yeah, I agree. I totally agree. I actually have had to. It's been more challenging to play because of the fact that there's injuries. I'm like, okay, I think it's just people just having access to the file, which is out there in the open. So I guess no one can say they don't have access to it. If they have the game, they can go in it themselves. Proposed changes. Des Moines, no, not any at all, actually. Just keeping track of the ineligibles, that's fine. And then you got Badlands and Arlington. I'm not even going to look at those, really. North Sound, as this D. Scott Howard's team. They've lost Frankie Frisch and Ryan Braun, looks like, for the season. So, yeah, I mean, I'm lucky. I've got a deep roster in Manchester, so I've been able to still cover my injuries, but my God, this one is pretty bad. To lose Dave Orr, the best first baseman bar Dan Bruthers of the 19th century, and Honus Wagner, that's unfortunate. For a team that's unfortunate in general. Arlington, and then you got Badlands, finally Badlands. Again, Mike's out, Louis, Tony C's ineligible. So, we've definitely had a patch of injury. I think my biggest loss is A-Rod. A-Rod was my big man. Yeah, and if you don't know this game, why not? Listen, Steve, love to see your basketball stuff, really and truly. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love baseball too, but I really would love to see more of that. I can't wait to see your All-Star Draft League or your All-Star file. It looks like your all-time great file. As you know, I keep saying this, I'm a big college basketball fan. I need to dig out my Duke team from the 1960s. I'm unbeatable, to be fair. Art Heyman is just an amazing center in that era. Right. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to call this Uncle 5 or Uncle 6, I think it's now. Let's have a look what Steve called it. Last time up, Steve, you did call it Uncle 5, so this is going to be Uncle 6 for now. I may go back in. So, Steve, are you on later on again? I think you're on with Beatles later on. Steve, so I'll join you there. But that's the state of the league. The All-Stars at the moment are Mordecai Brown. Mike Piazza's had a great season. Mark McGuire, Fred Dunlap. Darrell Evans, I cannot believe Darrell Evans is an All-Star. How the hell is that possible? Darrell Evans, let's have a look at this, because this is wrong. How can Darrell Evans be an All-Star? And the reason why I say that, look at this. Averages throughout the season. He's only hitting 300 in August. He's only hitting 238 on the season. So he must be paying off the commissioner. Or he's fielding. I don't know if you can see fielding on here. Let's have a look. I don't know how to measure fielding specifically, other than the percentages. That doesn't look that great to me. Errors. 24, I guess. Is that good? So interesting that he's that third. Robin Yount, Barry Bonds, Willie Mays, Heavy Johnson's been great. That's all been good. So I can't complain with that one. But Darrell Evans at third, really? Third base must be very weak in the league. No disrespect to Darrell Evans. Yeah, so let's have a look. I would be... Yeah, Miguel Cabrera. I did notice him in August playing for your team. So you know what to do when you get in there again. But let's have a look. Manny Ramirez. Never pull for pinch runner, never pull for pinch hitter. Pull for late defensive sub. Don't use as a defensive sub. No restrictions on him whatsoever. So there's no reason why he won't play. The only thing I can think of, Steve, is your depth chart. Something that I've really gotten into this game is looking at how the depth chart affects things. And yeah, Manny Ramirez for lefties is up there. Hank Aaron will play against righties. That's probably why you're not seeing so much of Ramirez. Left field, center field, no Ramirez there at all. Left field, so that's why, possibly, you're seeing Manny Ramirez on your depth chart, which it will pick up from. Bryce Harper's out, so naturally it will pick Hank Aaron above Manny. And here and left, it's always going to be Aaron again. So Manny has played a few, but not that often. And that's why I think it is. Hank Aaron's always going to play over Ramirez, no matter what you do. Just DH, you're never going to stop Bonds because Bonds is your man. But that's the only reason I could think of. I was thinking of doing a stream, actually. Brett's definitely out for Jersey. He's 100% out. I was actually thinking of looking at the AI, because I think I've sussed this thing up pretty well by now. Of watching you and Beatles and, doing my own. Because I've broadcast quite a lot of games, I've had a chance to see how that AI actually works. And the one thing I was bringing everyone's attention to, I use Manchester in particular, is I know there's a lot of new users recently that I've seen on your channels. The only thing I was saying is that when they're doing their leagues, Steve, you might be able to show them how to not only do the manager preferences, which is important, but just how to use these settings, okay, and what's the advantage of using them, why I only tick these two particularly for ease of use, but also the individual tab. So if I go to someone like, let's have a look, like I've just brought Guy Hecker back in, I've just brought Tommy Tucker back in, but if I go to Ted Williams, go to manager, individually for Splendid Splinter, then you can do these individual ones, which I don't think we emphasize enough. But specifically for pitchers, the AI for pitchers, we were always cursing it, but actually, if I pick someone like Juan Marichal, who's been terrible, by the way, individually moving these things, but pull starter after. That's the one I found makes the biggest difference. You're fine with your lineup, that's cool. Cabrera is behind Evans for Mudville. I'll have a look at that. Pull starter after 4. These ones I do like. And I think for the league as a whole, there may be a rule that I think there's a generic way you can set this up for the league so that starters are not staying in there when they're getting shelled. Some of us have actually done it individually now, but I think there must be a rule we could make where if they've given up 6 earned runs, take them out. Do you mean automatically? Because then, otherwise it skews everything really badly. I think it's only really for Arlington and Badlands that's been the case. But there's one or two others I've noticed. So if we fixed Des Moines, mine is fixed. I think yours is pretty good anyway. Although I did see your picture earlier on today get shelled, and he had given up 11 earned runs, or 10 earned runs. So you're thinking, why would they keep him in there? He shouldn't. So that's one thing I would say in the tutorials to keep doing, because it's I've learned so much from watching them. I've learned more, if that makes sense. More than I probably was intending to. So Beatles, you mentioned Beatles Eternalities stuff. Let's have a quick look. You mentioned Cabrera. So if we look at the Mudville 9s, and let's look at Mudville's batters. You mentioned Cabrera. There's Miggy. He's only had 10 games. Hap Felch has only had a few, and he just played this morning, and he had a great game. Beatles has got a good team, really. So, depth chart is what I look at. His catcher is Molina. Muddy Rule, I have yet to see Muddy Rule play one game. Seems like he's played 35. So that's fine. First base for Beatles, Fox, that seems right. Second base, Johnson, he's okay. Defensively, he's brilliant. Third base, Darrell Evans, this is what you're talking about. It's possible he could play Cabrera there, but he's put Judy Johnson here and Cabrera to the right. Against righties, and that's probably why we don't see Miggy, because Darrell Evans really gets injured. Shortstop is fine. Left field is fine. This is what he did brilliantly. Hap Felch is now his centre fielder. Now, I didn't change that. That's what I saw when I came in. And I was really surprised at why is Hap Felch playing centre field? That's because he's had to change his defence around. Makes sense, right? Because Ty Cobb is injured. So that makes complete sense. But I didn't change this. His Beatles must have changed it, or you changed on Beatles' behalf. But Hap Felch came through, I'll tell you that now. Right field is Ruth. Now, I'm pretty confident Ruth started off in left field for most of the season. But and Keeler, for some reason, has now been demoted. So the only thing I'm looking at is, there it is. Allow GM to make roster changes. That needs to be unclicked, because as long as Beatles is happy with that. Or clicked, either way. It's working to his advantage at the moment. Allow the GM to make roster changes. So it's making his. With mine, if I go back to Manchester, as long as people understand how to use this, I think, I don't let the GM do a damn thing. But I have more access to my team because I'm broadcasting more often than everyone else. So I don't have to have it that way. If, say, Lawrence, who's not as active, say, lately, he'd probably best to keep his on allow GM to make roster moves, if that makes sense. So there's benefits to it being used and not being used. But I think I'll suss the AI, to be honest. Anyway. So that's that from me. Thanks, everybody, for today. I enjoyed the tutorials over the weekend. Please check out Steve Tate's channel for the tutorials as of late. The tutorials have been amazing. There's loads on there. And also, Beatles Eternal has done quite a lot of broadcasts with tutorials as of late, and some really good leagues. So Steve says he popped Foster in as a centre fielder as lineup will override depth. So lineups assignment will override depth. Okay, depth is set up and helps the air select lineups. However, yeah, gotcha. No, that's good to know. Today, though, he did play Hap Felch in centre field. There were no saved lineups with his roster. I'll just double check. It didn't give me options, so I was querying it when I was playing the game today. I was like, why is it? It said lineups. There's no. Unless I did that today, I might have saved it for him today. So there's his saved lineup versus lefties. Ty Cobb is obviously injured. That makes sense. And here's his one versus righties. Cobb is out. So when I press computer lineup, though, it did have Hap Felch, which means if you're pressing computer lineup, it's probably going to go with depth chart, it looks like to me. If you go with what you've set manually, it'll go to what's saved. Am I right, Steve? Because that's what came up today. They won, handsomely, and Hap Felch was a star, but I'm just curious. I've always gone with load the lineup that's been saved. That makes complete sense. But I've noticed not everyone has their lineup saved. So you press computer lineup, which I think is pulling from, in the main, the depth chart. So it's interesting. But yeah, the injuries are really, really interesting. Really interesting to look at. And these statistics are amazing as well. Of the Negro Leaguers, Steve, just so you know this already, Heavy Johnson has been absolutely superb. And Pop Lloyd, they've been absolutely... My question to you is, how much of the Negro Leaguers surprise you? I think Josh Gibson's had a really good season too, but he was injured for about 4 weeks. He doesn't show up statistically. But he has been excellent as well. There's Josh Gibson. Only played 94 games, batting 300 with 26 home runs, an OPS plus of 138. He's way down on what he should be, but at the same time, he's still been effective, if that makes sense. And here's my red bolts. I'm always loving my red bolts. Ted Williams has been underwhelming. But I think you were asking a question about some of those teams. It's the ballpark, isn't it? It's got to be. It's the ballpark factors that make a big difference. Had I played my team in your stadium, my pitching would be even worse than it is. It's bad as it is. But my home run hitting might have suited us better because yours is a home run park. Oscar Charleston, yeah, Charleston plays for Hawaii. Oscar Charleston has not been bad, but nowhere near what you'd expect it to be. He's batting 280 with 21 home runs, an OPS plus of only 113. Not the best. This team here, though, if they ever get on a proper run, Lawrence's team, they'll do well. But they're like Manchester. We just lose to people like Badlands and Arlington. It's like, why would we do that? But we do. Yeah, definitely. What approach is that then? Yeah, these are the year and team approach. That's going to be fun. I reckon we'll finish this league probably within a week, Steve. I mean, I'm only doing a little bit at a time now because it's getting close to the end, in case people want to change things around. And also partly to the heat as well. The heat over here is we're having heat waves. It's really difficult to broadcast. And the other part of it is obviously work as well. But if we can wrap it up in a week or just over a week, that would be great. It's looking like it's going to be your championship. But if we're having a postseason, then it'll be Jersey and Detroit. In the postseason, it's looking like. Unless Manchester and Hawaii do something spectacular in September. And just so you know, Steve, yes, I've been tinkering in my rotation. Hacker is back. Because I rested him in August. Because of the usage thing. It says exceeded real life total usage. But I looked at it and thought he's on pace for 137. The penalty kicks in at 150. Haha. So I've played that beautifully. Thanks for the tip, Steve. And Hecker is not been spectacular early on in the season, but down the stretch, I think he'll make the difference. So our pitching should come through. That's my thinking. In degrees, I wouldn't be able to tell it because we've got a different system to you guys. Just know this: it's really hot. They're calling it a heat wave, so I don't know what that is in terms of temperature. But it's really hot. So right now, for example, because I'm broadcasting or streaming, I have to turn my fan down. And to do the fan down, we don't have air conditioning. I have air conditioning, but it's the British air conditioning, which means it's rubbish. I have got a fan, a large fan, but I can't do it because it interferes with the sound when I'm streaming. So, without further ado... Oh, by the way, Steve, one thing I did do, actually, I don't know if I can show it now, is I did do